Welcome back to my test kitchen. I'm Jen, and this is Jen's Test Kitchen. So, for today's test recipe, I am so excited. I was trying to think of what to make for today, and I'm kind of on a little bit of a cookie kick. Trying to start my own cookie company, so I'm coming up with cookie recipes. Kind of fits. I do have something that I want to do coming up. I saw this amazing thing on the Great British Baking Show, of course. So I do want to try my hand at making that, and we'll see about scheduling that coming up here really soon. But for today, we are making, or trying to make anyway, like a banana Foster type cookie. So it really is kind of a test kitchen-y kind of day where I haven't tried out this recipe before. I don't even know if this is actually a thing that people have done before. It's just something I'm trying to do today, and we'll see how it works out. I'm really, really excited for this. So, let's get started. So the first thing that we're gonna need is what I'm doing with this in general. Let's back up. The general idea here is that I want to do a play on like a banana Foster. If I could, I would really like to do like a vanilla cream in the center. But one, it's hard to do that with a cookie because you have to have something that you can cook, because you have to be able to freeze it into a shape, put it inside the cookie, and have it cook inside the cookie and still be creamy. So if you're to do like a pudding or traditional kind of filling, like pastry cream, I feel like it would cook and then either curdle or harden, and it just wouldn't be the same. So I'm trying a white chocolate caramel. So basically making a caramel, pouring it over chocolate. It's kind of like a caramel white chocolate ganache kind of situation. Then taking the white chocolate caramel ganache kind of situation and putting it into balls, putting it inside of like a banana cookie. I've altered a recipe kind of based on a banana bread, but I've kind of made it more cookie. So we'll hopefully see how this turns out. And then I really would like it to have like a creme brulee top with the glass sugar that is just kind of hard and crackly. And I think that would be an amazing cookie. How did I come up with this? No idea. It's all in here in the crazy weird spot. So this is kind of, I made my white chocolate caramel last night, but I didn't have enough white chocolate, so I couldn't make enough to actually be like good for today. But that just means I get to show you how to make it. So we're gonna make our white chocolate caramel, and we're also gonna make the banana cookie base. Right now I do have some of it cooking with, I took some regular caramel on top. I also took some sugar and just put some sugar on top. If I need to, I will boil it for like 30 seconds or whatever it's going to take in order for it to caramelize, because I don't have a torch to be able to like burn the top into a sugar thing. We might need to invest in a torch eventually, but for now we're just going to use the broil setting. Anyway, I did type up my basic recipes in the description, at least my YouTube video. It should hopefully be on Facebook. I don't know how that shows up in Twitch, so maybe it'll be there, maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm sorry if it's not. But let's get a look at the ingredients. So starting off, let's move these kind of over here as we go. So starting off, what we have is I have a whole package of white chocolate chips. I'm just using store brand white chocolate chips. This is a 11-ounce package. So I think in the recipe it says 2 cups. It's about what these usually are. So I've made like a guesstimation. I didn't measure this out exactly. It's a little over 300 grams, 312 grams. So there's that, there. And then I have 1 cup of sugar that I did measure out. And then we have a cup of cream with a tablespoon of butter and half a teaspoon of salt. So these are the ingredients for the caramel. And then for our next bit, we have 1/2 cup or 1 stick of unsalted butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 2 room temperature bananas, 2 room temperature eggs. This was frozen bananas. It looks really gross. That's just because they were very ripe bananas, and then I peeled them and froze them. I actually really like this for like a banana ice cream, or for making banana bread. That's what I usually use it for, so that's why we got this. So you can use fresh bananas or you can use frozen. I've taken my frozen bananas. The camera should be over here. Why is it being weird? Anyway, I've taken the frozen bananas and I put them just in a jar to thaw so that they're all mushy now and not frozen solid. Anyway, and let's see. And then we also have a teaspoon of vanilla. And then I've taken my 3 cups of flour, and I did do the indention method where you basically take the spoon and push it into the flour to make a divot. And I made it for half a teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of baking powder. So we have all of our ingredients here. And this is just what we have for the cookie itself. Let's see. For the toppings, I'm either using a little bit of extra white sugar or some leftover caramel. Now, like I was saying, I didn't have quite enough white chocolate chips last night for. I didn't have quite enough white chocolate chips last night for the amount of caramel I made. So I actually have some leftover caramel sauce. It's really delicious, really good looking. We can look at that here. Let's figure out a way to put the camera down without putting it into everything. So I have just some nice gooey caramel sauce. This is the caramel sauce I was making. I did have to add some extra cream to this after it was made to make sure that it was creamy because it was really crispy when I made it. But anyway, caramel sauce. And so I'm just taking some of the caramel sauce and like putting it on top of some of the cookies. All right, so this is going to be the most boring part, and I didn't do it ahead of time. I apologize. But we're going to watch sugar melt into caramel. Yes, thank you very much, timer. I'm going to check on that here in just a second. So we're going to go ahead and turn our stove on to kind of like a low, medium low, and put sugar into just a dry pan of sugar. And you're just going to stir this. Well, this is going to just melt, and we're going to kind of stir this as we go along. While that's starting to look good, everything's getting all melty. It does need some time. That was just 10 minutes. So I'm going to do another timer for 10 more minutes. Now, we'll get into that in a little bit. So, you know what? While this is melting, we're going to go work on the cookies. We're going to have to the cookie batter. We're going to have to come and check on this from time to time, but it does take a little while for caramel to start melting. But anyway, we got this right here. It's doing pretty good. So it's just going to sit here and warm up and melt, and we'll just kind of stir it every little bit. So We have our butter mixture all ready to go. And then we have our bowl of white chocolate chips ready so that so we're going to just melt the sugar, kind of stir it, all melty. Once it gets melted, we're going to pour the stuff in and stir it really good. And then we're going to pour it over the chocolate chips and stir it really good. And it will be caramel, white chocolate caramel. This is just caramel. So let's get cooking. Earlier when I made this, I actually just did all of my mixing by hand. So actually, let's come back over here because I'm sorry. This is usually where I do my mixing now because it's just easier. So I'm going to move these ingredients just out of the way so that we're not trying to fight for space. Yes. So the first thing that we'll need to do is get our mixer. Because like I said, I did do this one by hand earlier. It's a lot tougher to do by hand, especially since we have the bananas. No, thank you. Go away. Okay. So yes, this part is harder to do by hand than a lot of cookies because because the liquid in the bananas just make it a lot more liquidy and it doesn't want to quite come together the same. Like you can spend a lot of time mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing, and that's what I did this morning. And it's gonna kind of not hurt your arms, but wear your arms out a lot. That was my problem. Unless you're doing this all the time, if you are Suki and you can go on about how you always hand whip your whipped cream, then awesome. If you're not that person, then a mixer is for you. Okay, let's see. So we are starting off with our half a cup, 1 stick of butter. I am going to use a rubber spatula to make sure I get as much of the butter off of the paper as I can. Does it really, really matter if you get that last gram of butter off of here? Probably not. But am I going to do it anyway? Yes, yes, I am. So, half gram of butter. All right, we're going to take this and just whip the butter really quick, just so that the butter is nice and soft and beaten up. All right, creamed butter. Phew, there we go. All right, now the first cookies I made, I did use white sugar. And so right now we are testing out the recipe with brown sugar. But if you take a look at the recipe, it says brown/white sugar or granulated sugar. And that's because I'm not sure which way is going to be better. I think the brown sugar will add a better flavor, which is why I want to do brown sugar. I think the white sugar is going to be just fine. I think even doing a version of mixing brown sugar and white sugar would probably be good. But for this recipe that we're making right now, we're going to test it out with brown sugar. So I'm going to cream the butter and the brown sugar together. Now, I'm going to take a quick second to stir my caramel sugar. See, it's not even like bumping up or anything yet. It's all just granules of sugar. Now it gets really hot and then it starts melting, and then once it's melting, it's like, that's it. But anyway, let's see. The brown sugar and the butter are fairly creamed together. They're creamed together fairly nicely. It does still feel a little crunchy. As you can tell, I got a different pack of brown sugar, so it's not super hard, but I find even in those kind of things of brown sugar, there's still going to be a couple of little hard chunks, but I think that's more of the nature of brown sugar than anything. Let's see, this does seem fairly well mixed, combined, creamed, but we are going to go just another minute or so longer. I just want to make sure it's really, really there, right where I want it. Okay. All right, clean that off. Beat the sugar. Awesome. I don't know if you all can tell, but I can tell this is now a lighter color. And that's exactly what I was going for. Because I can see, I don't know if you all can see that, but right here on the edge, like this is a darker brown than this one is. And that's what I'm looking at. That was right there on the edge. And now we have this nice, light, fluffy, creamy sugar mixture. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to cream in is our bananas. Now, our bananas are a little weepy, so I'm pouring out a little bit of the liquid. But so we have, this is about 160 grams. I think it was 170 of, this was frozen banana that I've let thaw. And so it's about 160 grams of banana. Banana. All right, so it's obviously not frozen anymore. It's just smushy banana. So let's cream that in. Okay. So this looks like it's sticking up on the sides. We need to bring this down. But also the timer just started going off. So I need to check the cookies. Those are definitely cookies, and there's caramel everywhere. Let's rotate these and we'll bake them for another couple of minutes. See what's going on, because that is not how I envision these cookies turning out. All right, this is getting fun. This is getting fun. This is when test kitchens go bad. Cancel timer 5. Start. All right. And then I'm seeing this caramel kind of melting a little bit. So we're just going to stir it up a little. And you can see like the melted part. And it's just going to get all grainy. Because that's, well, not grainy, kind of chunky. Because that's what it does at this point. It gets kind of chunky and hard. and it's just continuing to melt. But we want to stir it and get everything kind of mixed together. The hardest part is getting everything off of your spoon because it's gonna want to like stick like glue to the spoon. Anyway, so this is still going. We're gonna knock this down on here. All right. And you can see how this is kind of liquidy and it's separating. So we're just gonna, like I said, we're pulling this down and then we're gonna beat it for a little bit longer, just to get it kind of more incorporated. So if you pay attention, it still has like the same texture. It's just, yeah, it's just beaten really well. So 2 eggs. Just gonna, technically you should like incorporate these one at a time, get it completely mixed in before you add the next one. You should also put these into like a separate container to make sure you're not getting eggshells everywhere and all that fun stuff. But you can tell we're obviously not doing that. And I'm also going to put in my teaspoon of vanilla. So, banana, eggs, and vanilla. That's the liquidy stuff we've been adding. All right. So this part. My caramel is, like I said, the caramel is going to melt kind of quickly. And we're going to have to beat it up. Stir, stir, stir. So, stirring the caramel for a second. Oh, you guys can't really see this. Let's come over and look at it for just a second. Like, it's melting, the bottom's all melty, but like as I'm stirring it, it's like the melting's mixing with the non-melted and it gets kind of crumbly, but then it gets more and more melty as we're going here. So this is actually just about to the point where we're going to need to start adding some other stuff to it. So let's finish beating the eggs in real quick and then we'll turn back to our caramel to finish that off. So all right, that's really well incorporated. This is also a lot more liquidy than the one I was doing earlier. I have a feeling that's because of the frozen banana. I used fresh banana earlier, so lots and lots of things to try. Okay, so this is all melty, and it's all caramely melty, and so we're just going to stir this, and I'm just trying to get rid of all of these big chunks. But we also have to be careful because we don't want this to burn. So at this point, you need to basically keep it moving. You don't want it to stick in the spot too long. Just trying to get all of the chunks melted. Because basically the idea for this part is we just want everything melted. Melted, melty, melted. And right now I am trying to melt this stuff off of the edge of the wooden spoon. This isn't exactly a spoon, but it's my favorite thing for making caramel because it's got this flat edge that really scrapes the bottom really well. So this is one of my favorite things for making caramel. I also like a pan with more up and down edges for making this caramel because if not, it kind of sticks to the sides and it makes it really hard to get everything down back into the bottom part. Let me check on these. These still look like they need a few more minutes. So we're gonna add 5 more minutes. I have a feeling I am gonna have to play with these cookies because this is, there's a caramel mess in the oven right now, and that is not the one we want. Okay, so now this is all melted. It's all melted and creamy and amazing. So stir, 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 add things in. And you can add it in slowly so that you can make sure to not, like you can make sure that you can incorporate everything and you're not getting anything like too chunky and that you're getting it all through. I usually add the butter in first, but for ease, like see that's like seizing up right there. I usually add the butter in first and then add the cream. But today we're just kind of adding it all together. Yeah, see it's kind of seizing up there in the middle. And we don't want that. We just keep stirring and it will melt again. We got it bubbly, and then as we stir, it'll come together and it'll kind of come down a little bit. I am going to turn this down all the way to low, all the way to low. See, that's not what I'm wanting there in the center. And so I'm just going to scrape this real quick and then keep stirring. We want it all to be liquid again. So if you find any chunks, kind of smush them out and just stir and melt and stir, and it will all come together here in just a second. See, it's coming together. Make sure you get the edges, because edges, and then like you saw a chunk. I don't know if you saw it. I saw a chunk there. It's like looking for Jaws in the ocean. Where is the chunk? Where's the shark? I know I've got this lovely caramel color on here. You can do this with a candy thermometer, and I'm sure that you can find temperatures on how to make a caramel sauce and all that kind of fun stuff. I just kind of go by feel, which doesn't always end up with the best caramel, but it works most of the time. So let's see. I'm going to turn this temperature all the way off, because it doesn't seem to be like we're all we're as bubbly as I want it to be. It's all melted together. It seems to be doing pretty much what I want. It's not, none of it is like I don't feel any chunks. It's not too dark. I don't smell anything burnt. It just smells really bubbly, except for I just splashed them on the thing, so that's probably gonna start burning. Anyway, yeah, so technically you want it to be a certain temperature with here. If it's like if you take it out and it's too stiff, you can always add a little bit more cream to kind of thin it out and make it creamier. So at this point, if you want a little bit of caramel sauce off to the side, pour some in this small bowl off to the side and use a little bit less white chocolate chips. I'm just going to pour all of this over my white chocolate chips to stir it in. So I am taking and scraping the pan the best I can. Get as much of the caramel out of here because caramel is delicious and we don't want to leave too much of it behind. One of my favorite things to do is I will brew a cup of coffee and I'll pour it in my caramel pan to melt the rest of the caramel into my coffee. And so that way I can have like a caramel coffee. So that is something to do if you don't want to waste that little bit of caramel in the pan. Make some coffee, pour it in there, and get the coffee to melt the caramel out, and then you can like just mix it into the coffee, and it's delicious. Got a nice caramel coffee. You might have to add a little bit more caramel sauce to make it as caramely as you want, but it's delicious that way. So I poured the caramel over the white chocolate, and now I'm just mixing it into incorporate. White chocolate melted really easily, really quickly. And so it's just a matter of mixing. So now we basically have, this is like a white chocolate caramel. Yep, you can use this on ice cream or other desserts, or you can do what we're gonna do and set this aside to cool for a while. And then I just took, in order to do this recipe, I just took, once the caramel is cool, I took a little scooper I made little 1-ounce balls, and I kind of flattened them out a little bit, and I froze them to put inside the middle of the cookies. So this is the white chocolate caramel, and actually it looks really good. I'm going to set this aside to cool. The cookie mayhem looks done, but still yourself. It looks like all my caramel oozed out. I put caramel on top of these, and at first when I checked on them, I thought it was just falling off, but it looks like all the caramel oozed out. So we're gonna have to see what to do about these. But this was a great test. This is a great test start. So, a couple of things. Looking at these as they've come out, it looks like so the sugar didn't melt on top like I was hoping it would. So we just kind of have these granulated sugar tops, which I could probably broil or like torch, and those would be glass like I want them to be. And then I don't know if this caramel seeped into the batter or what happened there, but it just kind of is a mess. This is all just a mess, which will be fun to sort through here in a little bit, but yeah, so we'll test. Round 1 was a fail. Okay, that's why we're here. We're testing things. We're testing things. This test was a fail. Did not work. Do not recommend. So we're gonna just keep trying until we can see if we can get it. Maybe I'll save the caramel on top and the sugar for after we figure out how to get the base cookie the way I want it. The cookies look good. Like if you can tell here on the base, it looks brown. So we're gonna just let those sit there and cool and see what they do. So let's go through and finish up the cookie batter, cookie dough. There we go. So right here we have our butter, sugar, bananas, eggs, vanilla. Yes, that's what's in here. And so we have that all beaten together. And then we have our 3 cups of flour with our baking powder and salt. Technically, no, the salt will not fit through the sieve, but that's okay. We'll just dump it out afterwards. The main reason we're doing this is to get rid of any clumps, especially since my baking powder is clumpy. So if you can't fit it all in at one time, that's fine. You can divide it in half, sift it, and then put more in and sift it again. I'm not judging you. You might be judging you, but I'm not judging you. So, at least it was in flour and not in the batter, or the sifter wouldn't work anymore. All right, so sift, 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 sift. All right. So flour's all sifted. Chunks of baking powder. Rub them around so that they kind of get grated on the sieve. Like I said, if you have one of those like rotatey ones, that would be good too. That'll just take care of it right up without any kind of thing. So it's just the salt. Dump the salt. And then I'm seriously just going to use the rubber spatula that we've been using for like clearing the side of the bowl to just stir the flour and everything in. You can definitely tell from looking at this that the using the brown sugar has definitely made the batter a lot darker, or the cookie dough a lot darker. I'll pull out the other cookie dough I have in the freezer right now so we can kind of compare and contrast. But just kind of stir and mix and get all of the dry ingredients just incorporated with the wet ingredients. And actually, this cookie dough looks a little bit firmer than the other one, but I don't know. Anyway, this is a fairly sticky kind of dough. So let's see. I think we're all mixed in. Yep, all mixed in. So what I did with the other one is from here, I put it in the fridge and I let it chill for an hour so that it was easy to work with. Um, we're not going to chill at this point, just so that I can show you how I portioned it and how I did these things. But let's just grab hot pans or making pans. But let's take this over and we'll portion out. We'll do one portion just so that you can see what I was doing here. All right, so these are the cookies I made. This is the batter I made earlier with the white sugar. And these are just 2-ounce portions. And then this is the caramel I made earlier that I kind of portioned out and froze. So I portioned it out. I've had it on like a silicone mat like this. And so now it's just like a hard caramel. So yeah, this is the dough we made earlier. And then I'm just gonna take a plate on a scale. That's it. And then we're gonna move over, change it over to the ounces. And if this is cold, it portions a lot better. Like at the end, it was warming up and it was really hard to portion, but I will show you just this one for now. Anyway, so we're just going to portion out. It's 2.36, so we're just going to take a little bit of this out of here. 2.01, close enough. And then, let's see. I'm trying to get the some of the batter off of the scapula. So take our 2-ounce portion of dough and just put it onto the mat so that it's all cookie doughy. And then I'll just stick these in the freezer for like another hour and they get nice and firm. So let's turn back over. Let's hold this up a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So we have our fairly firm cookie dough that we can manipulate still, but it's not like not like this is a soft sticky batter, but it's not as bad because stuff. So flatten out the cookie dough, put the caramel in the center, and I just kind of moved it up over the top. Now, I got to figure out why when I did this before, it left holes and my caramel started leaking out, or maybe just from where it was expanding, the caramel leaked out. I'm not sure why my caramel leaked out everywhere, but it did. That was not my favorite. I'm going to have to clean all that up, and that's not my favorite thing to do. So we do want to make sure that these are fairly solid. I am doing these in discs. I do these as discs because I want them to spread out a little bit, and I want that caramel to be as much around the center of that cookie as I can. Now you see this is starting to stick to me because it's all wet and gooey, but anyway, so this is how I do it. And then from here with my caramel filled cookie, just putting it back on the mat and then put this back in the freezer for another hour or so that this gets nice and solid. Because I like to bake these from cold or frozen versus like fresh, just because it it takes longer for them to cook and spread, and I don't want that. Maybe if I cook them at a higher temperature, that'll work. So anyway, did these up like this, and then this is the cookie to cook once you get everything all done. But like I said, I ran out of caramel, and the caramel takes a long time, and I ran out of ingredients, and I wasn't able to finish it today. But let me stick this in the freezer, and there's one cookie that looks like it's okay, so we'll see if we can look at that one. Pan isn't super hot anymore, but it's hot enough. So let's look at the caramel mess again. Caramel mess. There we go. So this cookie actually looks like it did the best. It looks like it did break out in one spot, but you can see that the bottom is really soft, and the caramel is probably going to be fairly crispy, but this right now is fairly chewy actually. So let's break this open and see what that looks like inside. Oh my gosh, that's such ooey gooey caramel inside. That looks amazing. Actually, I gotta try this now. So the bread on this looks like it is a little underdone, so these could probably use another 5 minutes. So I cooked these at 300 for about 30 minutes. I think the recipe I was using for the banana bread said 325. So maybe I'm dripping caramel all over me. Maybe like a 350 might be better. I'm gonna have to play with the temperature on the recipe. But the banana bread part, the cookie part doesn't look as cooked as I would like. Even though the bottom is basically perfect, the top isn't cooked like I would like. So we're gonna try the banana bread with the caramel. I can definitely taste the cookie. I'm sorry, that's just so good. The cookie is a little underdone. I could definitely tell that. That caramel. It's so creamy and sweet. That is amazing. So, first batch of cookies is going to sadly need to be eaten. If you could come and join me and eat these for me, that'd be amazing. But you're not here right now, so you can't. But you can have a bite. You want a bite? There you go. That's about what I got for you. So this was technically a very successful test recipe. I found out lots of information. I'm going to play with this a little bit more and see what I can do. Like I said, I am going to refrigerate the rest of the batter that we just made, the cookie dough, and turn it into some more banana cookies along with the caramel to see how that works. But I'm really glad that we tried this out and we learned lots doing this. So that's super exciting. Too bad that it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but we'll figure it out eventually, and hopefully that's when things will get really good. All right. So today is the first cut in the favorite chef competition. This first cut is the top 20, and right now I'm sitting at number 7. So it looks like I am safe for today. And I thank you all so much. I appreciate you for going out and voting. The time does end at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tonight. So after tonight, if you go back in and vote for me, that would be so awesome, so appreciative. Because we're doing this all again. We're about to start the second round of 10 days of voting. This next part is number 15 and up. So I got number 7 this time. You guys are amazing. Hopefully I can get above 15 for this next round and move even further, because right now, like I said, I'm number 7 and I am so excited. You guys have been doing amazing and going out and voting, and just keep it up, please. I know this is tedious. You can vote once a day, once every 24 hours. It's actually kind of the issue I'm sitting at right now, is that I went to go vote this morning, but I was only at 20 hours, so I needed to wait a couple hours, and I haven't checked it since. So, um, yeah, banana cookies. We're gonna try them at 350 on this next round and see if they cook up a little bit better. And I'm gonna try not putting anything on top to see what that does. So, thanks for hanging out while we did this cookie fail. It's not exactly a cookie fail because they're still delicious and they're still gonna get eaten. They're just not as beautiful as we wanted. Perfectly fine. But thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for taking an interest in the favorite chef competition. And I will see you on Tuesday with a new video. And at that point, we're either going to start on my super secret project or we're going to work on some chocolate fudge cookies. I'm going to have to think about that this weekend and see which one we're going to do. But thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time. Bye.